Did you know? The Japanese don't just live longer, they live better. And I'm not talking about skin or body shape. I'm talking about how they walk at 90, still upright, eyes bright, and still able to make themselves a cup of tea each morning. As a doctor who has practiced in the U.S. for over 30 years, I used to believe aging meant slowing down, weakening, and depending on others. But everything changed during a medical visit to Okinawa, home to some of the longest living people on Earth. What I saw there truly stunned me. It wasn't medicine. It wasn't genetics. It was something far simpler. A few gentle movements, repeated every single day, woven naturally into their lives. I still remember a 90-year-old woman whose hands trembled slightly as she leaned down to tend to her flower pots. Another elderly man laughed heartily as he stretched with friends in the morning sun. No gyms, no expensive equipment, just their bodies, their breath, and the joy of being alive. When I returned to the U.S., I started trying it myself. Just a few minutes each morning, rotating my wrists, walking lightly around the house, taking deep breaths, and stretching as if greeting the sun. After 3 months, something changed. I slept better, my knees hurt less, and my memory, surprisingly, became sharper. Have you ever felt like your body was stiffening with age? That every time you bend down, your back seems to complain? If so, you're not alone. But believe me, by bringing back just 9 simple movements the Japanese practice daily, you can begin to reverse the effects of aging. I've shared these with many of my older patients, people who once told me, at my age, it's too late to start exercising. And after a few months, they weren't just stronger, they were happier, more flexible, and most importantly, they felt in control of their bodies again. Stay with me until the end of this video, because movement number 1, the simplest of them all, might actually add 10 more years to your life. And the surprising part? Almost no one in America knows about it. So if you're in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, give yourself these few minutes. Because aging isn't the end of the story. It's just a new chapter. One you can write with every breath, every movement, and every smile you choose to keep. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Every morning you pick up a small towel, just an ordinary bath towel. But instead of wiping your face and tossing it aside, you grip both ends firmly, gently pull, and twist your torso, left, right, slowly, with full awareness. That's what the Japanese call the towel twist, a simple 2-minute daily routine they've practiced for decades. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But you'd be amazed to know that this tiny movement actually activates your entire body, your arms, shoulders, spine, and even those small forgotten muscles around your abdomen. I once asked a 93-year-old woman in Okinawa, still walking briskly and full of energy, what her secret was. She smiled and said, "I just twist this towel every morning and every night. It reminds me that I'm still alive." At first I thought she was joking, but when I brought that idea back to my patients in the U.S., the results were so remarkable that I started documenting them carefully. A 20-year study in Japan found that people who practiced the towel twist regularly lived, on average, 7 years longer than those who didn't. Not because of any miracle, but because the twisting motion boosts blood flow to the brain, keeps the spine flexible, loosens the shoulders, and even stimulates the brain's memory centers. I often tell my patients, don't worry about running 5 miles a day. Just start by twisting a towel for 2 minutes. 1 minute in the morning, to awaken your energy. 1 minute at night, to remind your body that you've lived fully today. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. All you need is a towel, a deep breath, and 2 mindful minutes to feel younger, stronger, and more alive, both in body and mind. But when I brought that idea back to my patients in the U.S., the results were so remarkable that I started documenting them carefully. A 20-year study in Japan found that people who practiced the towel twist regularly lived, on average, 7 years longer than those who didn't. Not because of any miracle, but because the twisting motion boosts blood flow to the brain, keeps the spine flexible, loosens the shoulders, and even stimulates the brain's memory centers. I often tell my patients, don't worry about running 5 miles a day. Just start by twisting a towel for 2 minutes. 1 minute in the morning, to awaken your energy. 1 minute at night, to remind your body that you've lived fully today. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. All you need is a towel, a deep breath, and 2 mindful minutes to feel younger, stronger, and more alive, both in body and mind. Try it tonight. As you twist the towel, feel every joint, every breath. Because sometimes the secret to longevity isn't hidden in supplements or strict diets, but in the small, intentional movements we do, with love and presence for ourselves. Have you ever noticed how fast we Americans tend to walk? Every morning, I see it in the park, people striding hard, earbuds in, eyes locked on their fitness trackers, as if they're racing against time. We call it power walking, but in Japan, they've chosen a different path. They call it Sampo, the art of slow walking. I still remember the first time I saw it in Kyoto. It was early morning. Mist hung low over old wooden rooftops, and on a narrow stone path, an elderly man was walking. Slowly. Each step seemed to have its own rhythm. His feet touched the ground lightly. His breath was deep, his gaze calm and far away. I stood there watching, feeling as if he wasn't just walking, but conversing with life itself. The Japanese believe that mindful walking, slow walking, isn't just physical exercise, it's a form of moving meditation. They walk in harmony with their breath, their heartbeat, and their surroundings. And fascinatingly, science agrees. Researchers in Tokyo followed older adults who practiced Sampo every morning. The results were astonishing. Just 20 minutes of slow, mindful walking each day reduced arterial stiffness by 60%, one of the leading causes of stroke and heart disease. Even more impressive, participants showed significant improvements in balance and reflexes, key factors in preventing falls, which are one of the main reasons many older adults lose their independence. I began teaching my patients to slow down. One woman, 68 years old, struggling with high blood pressure and knee pain, told me, "Doctor, I never thought I could feel peaceful, just by walking." She stopped trying to walk farther or faster. Instead, she strolled slowly around her garden, breathing in, breathing out, feeling the sunlight and the wind on her skin. 3 months later, her blood pressure stabilized, her energy lifted, and my favorite thing she said was, "I started to love my body again." You see, the magic of Sampo isn't about distance. It's about connection. When your footsteps, your breath, and your heartbeat fall into rhythm, your whole system resets, your body softens, your mind calms, and your inner energy flows again. So tomorrow morning, when you step outside, don't rush. Walk a little slower, breathe in, breathe out. Feel each step touch the earth. You don't need a park or a trail, just your hallway, your backyard, or the sidewalk in front of your home. And when you walk this way each day, you'll begin to realize something profound. Health isn't a finish line. It's the quiet, steady journey you take, one mindful step at a time. When was the last time you truly sat on the ground? Not on a chair, not leaning back on a couch. I mean really sat, with your feet touching the earth, knees bent deeply, and your body balanced on its own strength. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But try it. Most of us can't stay in that position for more than 10 seconds without feeling discomfort in our knees, hips, or lower back. Meanwhile, in Japan, even at 70 or 80 years old, people can still sit in a deep squat called Shinkozuwari for 15 or 20 minutes, effortlessly. I saw this with my own eyes in a small village in Nagano. An 87-year-old woman, small and lively, was squatting by her vegetable garden, washing radishes and chatting cheerfully with her neighbors. No strain, no trembling, just the quiet grace of a body that still remembers how to move naturally. I asked her, "Don't your legs get tired?" She smiled and said, "If you stop sitting close to the ground drifts away from you. And when that happens, your body forgets how to stand up." That sentence stayed with me. We Westerners spend so much of our lives in chairs, working, eating, watching TV, driving, and slowly our hips lose flexibility, our backs weaken, and our knees stiffen. Modern science now calls deep squatting a kind of natural mechanical therapy, a simple way to keep our bones and joints youthful without medication. Japanese researchers found that older adults who practice squatting daily maintain better balance for up to 9 years longer after age 60 compared to those who don't. They also show significantly lower rates of hip degeneration and far fewer falls, one of the main threats to independence in old age. As a doctor, I began encouraging my patients to relearn how to sit on the ground. At first, they laughed. "Doctor, I'm too old for that." But within a few weeks, starting with gentle wall-supported squats and gradually lowering themselves deeper, they began to notice real changes. Less back pain, more flexibility, and above all, a stronger sense of stability in every step. I often tell them, you don't have to sit long, just a few minutes a day, to remind your body of what it once knew, how to live with agility. So tonight, try it for yourself. Roll out a small mat. Lower yourself slowly until your heels touch the ground, and take a deep breath. Feel your hips, knees, and spine working together, quietly, steadily. That's Shinkozuwari, a simple, powerful secret the Japanese have kept for generations. No pills, no gyms, just you and the earth, in a still moment where your body finds rest and renewal from within. It's 6:30 in the morning. While many Americans are still sipping their first cup of coffee, in Japan, millions of people, from school children and office workers to men and women in their 80s and beyond, are already moving together to the rhythm of Ragio Taiso, or radio calisthenics. There's no loud music, no fancy workout gear, no complex choreography, just a calm, familiar voice from the radio and a series of simple flowing movements, raising arms, rolling shoulders, bending sideways, touching toes, stretching legs. Each motion lasts only a few seconds, unhurried and rhythmic, yet filled with intention. And in that quiet simplicity lies a kind of magic that much of the Western world still overlooks. I remember one morning in Tokyo during a work trip. I woke up early and walked to a nearby park. In the open courtyard, dozens of elderly people were practicing Ragio Taiso together. No one was trying to show off strength or compete. They simply moved in harmony, body and mind synchronized. When the music ended, everyone bowed politely, exchanged smiles, and went on with their day. It was an ordinary scene, yet profoundly beautiful. A philosophy in motion. Start the morning gently. And science agrees. This small ritual has real impact. A study from Kyoto University found that older adults who practiced Ragio Taiso daily had 40% fewer falls, 55% less chronic back pain, and most importantly, they stayed more positive and mentally alert throughout the day. These small, graceful movements improve blood flow, awaken muscles and joints, and even stimulate the brain. It's like a warm-up for the soul before the day begins. I often tell my patients, exercise doesn't have to make you sweat to make you healthy. Just 3 minutes each morning, moving like water, smooth, natural, alive, can transform your body and mood. Because true health isn't always about intensity, it's about rhythm. And Ragio Taiso is that quiet morning song that helps millions of Japanese people, even at age 90, begin their day with balance, energy, and a smile. You can try it right now. Just stand on one leg. Sounds simple, right? But in Japan, this isn't just an exercise. It's actually a prescription doctors recommend for older adults to do every day. The Japanese call it ashi, a simple yet powerful balance practice. All it takes is standing on one leg for 1 minute, twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. No equipment, no gym clothes, no excuses. You can do it while brushing your teeth or waiting for your coffee to brew, but the results are far more remarkable than they appear. A study from the University of Tokyo found that people over 60 who practiced this regularly had better balance, faster nerve responses, and even brain activity patterns similar to those of people in their 30s and 40s. That's because when you stand on one leg, your body activates hundreds of small stabilizing muscles in your feet, calves, hips, and core, all working together to keep you steady. Meanwhile, your brain is constantly training too, processing information about your body's position, balance, and spatial awareness. Even the Mayo Clinic, one of America's top medical centers, confirmed that adults over 60 who can balance on one leg for at least 30 seconds tend to live an average of 10 years longer than those who cannot. 30 seconds, and it could add a decade of healthy life. I'll never forget one of my patients, George, age 72. At first, he could only last 8 seconds before wobbling, but he practiced every morning, while brushing his teeth, while making coffee. After 3 months, he could hold steady for 45 seconds. He smiled at me during his next visit and said, "Doctor, I feel more balanced, not just in my legs, but in my mind." And he was absolutely right. Because Ashi isn't just a physical exercise, it's a lesson in balance. Balance between body and mind, between aging and resilience. So tomorrow morning, when you pick up your toothbrush, try it. Lift one leg, find your center, and smile. You might just be giving yourself the gift of 10 more healthy years. I want you to imagine this. You're sitting on the floor, chatting with friends, and then you smoothly stand up, without using your hands or holding on to anything. Sounds simple, right? But for most Americans over 60, that's actually a real challenge. In Japan, though, millions of people do it every single day. They eat on the floor, drink tea, watch TV, or talk with their grandchildren. They sit down, stand up, dozens of times throughout the day. And those simple, everyday movements hold one of Japan's greatest longevity secrets, keeping the body youthful, the mind sharp, and the joints flexible well into their 90s. The Japanese call this habit floor-sitting transition, the art of moving up and down from the floor. When you do it, your legs, hips, and back all work together, and your brain joins in too, coordinating balance, direction, and strength. It's a full-body workout that requires no gym, no equipment, just you and the floor. I once had a patient named Mary, age 68, who struggled with mild hip and back pain. When I suggested she try the sit and stand from the floor exercise every day, she laughed and said, "Me? I don't want to fall, doctor." But she agreed to start, just 3 times a day, using a chair for support. 2 months later, she came back walking taller, more confidently, and told me, "I'm not afraid of falling anymore." You see, the magic lies in the simplest, most natural human movement. According to a study from Tsukuba University, people who can stand up from the floor without using their hands live on average 6 years longer than those who can't. Why? Because it's not just a test of muscle strength or flexibility, it's a test of your biological age. If your body can move smoothly and gracefully, it means your inner systems are still young, no matter what your birth certificate says. So tonight, when you sit down on the floor to read or watch TV, give it a try. Feel your body move. Stand up gently, without strain. You might just rediscover a simple, powerful key to staying young. One graceful movement at a time. Have you ever noticed, when we're stressed, our breathing becomes short, fast, and shallow? It's as if the body goes into fight or flight mode, even when there's no enemy in sight. The Japanese have understood this for centuries, and they have a remarkably simple way to restore inner calm. Shin-kokyu, deep, slow, mindful breathing through the belly. Just 5 minutes each morning. Sit quietly, place your hand on your abdomen, inhale deeply until you feel your belly expand, Then exhale slowly, twice as long as your inhale. Quiet, gentle, and almost invisible, yet the effects are powerful. Researchers in Tokyo discovered that after just 2 weeks of daily Shinkoku practice, cortisol levels, the stress hormone, dropped by nearly 25%. Blood pressure became more stable, and both focus and memory noticeably improved. I've guided hundreds of my patients to start this practice each morning, right after waking, even before their first cup of coffee. The results have been incredible. They tell me they sleep better, think more clearly, and feel a deep sense of peace, even though their daily routines haven't changed. One of my patients, Susan, age 70, had struggled with insomnia for years. After a month of consistent Shinkoku, she told me, "I'm not just sleeping again. I feel lighter, like my heart has gotten younger." And I smiled because it's true. Sometimes the secret to longevity isn't in a pill or a machine. It's simply found in one deep, slow breath. There's a secret I often share with my older patients. If you want to keep your mind sharp, start with your hands. In Japan, they call this simple routine yubi undo, which means finger exercise. Every morning, many Japanese gently rub each finger, then slowly bend, stretch, and rotate them, feeling each tiny joint move with awareness. It takes only a few minutes, but it's not just an exercise for the hands. It's a workout for the brain. Neurological studies show that each fingertip contains thousands of nerve endings, all directly connected to the areas of the brain responsible for memory, focus, and coordination. So when you move your fingers, you're actually activating your brain, improving blood flow, boosting oxygen, sharpening focus, and helping protect against cognitive decline. I once suggested this exercise to an 82-year-old patient who practiced it every morning while making tea. After 3 months, he smiled and said, "My hands feel more flexible, my memory lasts longer, and my mornings aren't foggy anymore." I smiled back and told him, "That's because you're waking up your inner youth, one finger at a time." No gym, no equipment, just 5 mindful minutes a day. Yubi Undo, a small exercise that can keep your brain young for decades. There's a habit I've always admired in the Japanese. They don't just walk with their legs, they walk with their hearts. They call it Kansha walk, the walk of gratitude. Every morning, as they step outside, many quietly whisper, "Thank you, my legs, for carrying me all these years. Thank you, my breath, for still being here today." It sounds simple, but science has proven its profound power. When you walk in a state of gratitude, your brain releases serotonin, the happiness hormone, which helps reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, and even improve memory. Researchers have found that people who practice mindful gratitude walking have brains that function up to 10 years younger than their actual age. I'll never forget one of my patients, a 76-year-old woman, who once told me, "Every step I take now isn't heavy anymore. It's a thank you to life." Since that day, she hasn't missed a single morning walk. You see, youth doesn't always live in our muscles or heartbeat. Sometimes it lives in gratitude. And Kansha walk, just a few slow, thankful steps, can keep your heart and spirit young for a lifetime.